Pro boxing fans, we are here in London for one of, I think, Britain's anticipated comeback rematch. Sorry, a lot of people were thinking and talking about Ben Whittaker after that last fight. They weren't know which direction he was going to go in. We see that the rematch is on now. Ben, how difficult was it to make this fight happen?
Wasn't easy. Was it a little more difficult than I first anticipated? But the main thing is, it's happening. The fighters are happy, the fans are happy, it's happening, and we move on.
Talk to me about the pressure on Ben's shoulders right now, because there's this notion that, look, if you lose a fight and you're of high profile like Ben is, that's it, it's over, the game's over. And Turki Ali's actually spoken about this. Boxing shouldn't be that way. In the UFC, we see if a fighter loses or has a bad performance, it's not the end of a career. But is there pressure on Ben Whittaker to perform and win and get his career back in order?
On track, definitely back on track. I think you are right. That's the nature of boxing, and he's had to do some soul searching. He didn't lose the fight, but he didn't perform in the way he wanted to, and that's what hurt him the most. And I think I'll look back, and he'll look back at this moment in his career and be extremely grateful for it, because not many people get taught a lesson that harshly early on in their career, when things are going so well, when the numbers are out of control, when the commercial deals, when everything's flying at you and life is amazing. This sport will drag you back right down, and it's been hard because he might have been able to brush it off, but it was a lot of scrutiny and a lot of criticism, and he's gone away, and I think he's going to look back and be grateful for it, because he's such a phenomenal talent that he needs to live and breathe inside the ring, because everyone he fights is willing to do anything to stop him, and he now needs to match that level of, it's the whole silk pajamas, thing, and to get the level of success he's had is so rare. I don't even think it's hard to compare to a fighter that's had his many fights with the scrutiny that he's under. Like, there's not many at all. I mean, 7 or 8 fights and this level of attention. But he's dealt with it, he's back, and this is his moment.
There's a part of him that loves that attention, though. I'm sure that there's a part of him that makes him be this Ben Whittaker. He's spoken about it before, that, whilst he's getting this attention, he likes it, man.
Of course he does. And you've got to, when you take on that level of praise and that level of adulation, you're going to take it. And I'm not suggesting people feel sorry for him. I just don't think people can relate maybe to that level of attention. And this time it was bad. And so to deal with that for the first time is a great learning experience for a career in boxing. Look how many times we've built up and tore down every single one of the pay-per-view stars. And that's what they'll do to you, and they will build you up and spit you out multiple times. And to get that experience now, though, is what I'm saying, is like, usually that comes when you're at pay-per-view level. That comes when certain things happen at the business end of your career. So it's a good learning experience.
Quickly, the return of Fraser Clarke. I want to ask you, obviously, with the injuries that he suffered in his last fight, did you have to go through extra sort of doctors' checks and stuff before you confirmed anything with this fight?
Listen, he got dealt with very quickly, and he did his rehab really well. And the mentality that he showed is phenomenal. Did I think after October the 12th that I'd be talking about Fraser Clarke in April? Absolutely not. So I'm over the moon for him, for his career, for his family. This is what he loves to do, and he's back. And Tete's a good fight. He showed what he can do against Dillian Whyte. Of course, it's not going to be. All you hope is that he's ready and he's fit, and he comes out and he puts in a good performance, and then you're ready to go again, and then it's straight back in. But this is a good fight, but most importantly, Fraser Clarke is back.
Cool. I know you've made headlines with the whole Martin Bakole AJ thing, and I know there was some jest in there, so I'm not going to ask you about that, but I do want to ask you, Peter Fury did an interview and he said Martin Bakole, everyone's basically ducking him. Do you feel like that is the case with Martin? I know he's got a fight in May in America, but when you're trying to negotiate maybe a big fight for Martin, that nobody wants him right now?
No, we've been close with so many fighters, and then you almost know that when it comes down to it, it's not going to happen. And that's happened like 3, 4, 5 times. Even with Rajagba, I was convinced that it wasn't going to happen. But then when someone takes it, you know, fair play. But the lucky thing is, this is the last fight. The last fight before he fights for a world title. Once he has a world title, everyone's going to fight him. And he could reign for a while. So the hard work, the stress, the ducking, the diving, the excuses, the moving out the way is now over. He's one fight away. It's going to be a tough fight, but he's one fight away. And now the hype train is behind Martin Bakole for the first time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Talking about the hype train, then I spoke to Johnny Nelson about Martin Bakole, and he said there's a lot of rumours and a lot of talk about these sparring sessions that he's had with all these fighters, and nobody's actually gone back and retracted it or, you know, tried to sue him in any way. So there must be some truth behind it. With that, do you feel like that's probably one of the sort of things that's stopping Martin at this point of his career being bigger than what he should be?
The problem is, what's he got? If no one will get in the ring with him, then it's hard to say, look at what I do in the ring. Look at what he's done in his last couple of fights, and you're starting to see it, and you're going to see it in the next one, the next one. So he's banged the drum for himself. You know, English isn't his first language. He's not American. He's not English. He's not been blessed with that huge backing. But now we're seeing it, and yeah, I think he's hilarious. I think his personality is now shining through. People are starting to really warm to him. And he'll just say it how it is. And when do you ever get a fighter that just doesn't give a shit to the point where he'll call out anyone? He'll say that he's going to be. It's not. Oh yeah, I should win or this and that. He's confident, and that's what happens from the work, from the gyms, from his talent. And anyone in boxing, whether it's Peter Fury, whether it's Alex Krasiak, whether it's any heavyweight on the circuit, is scared of Martin Bakole in a good way. And finally, his hard work is paying off, and a huge night in store with His Excellency, with the ring, on May the 2nd, and then he fights for a world title.
Actually, that's a fair point. I spoke to Alex Krasiak last week, and I said to him, you know, with all these heavyweights out, possibly going to call it a day. Usyk, Fury, AJ, they're all at 38, 39. That age, that is Moses Atama going to be the next one. He goes, no, don't forget about Martin Bakole, because he's probably going to be the one that takes over. I want to ask you though, this Anthony Joshua fight, whilst you might have had a bit of fun with it, what's the situation with that? Is there any truth, or is there any movement in regards to maybe a fight in Congo? Is Teki Al-Sheikh backing something like this? Do we know anything?
I believe that he wants it. I think he's made that clear as well. I think Anthony Joshua wants it. I think Martin Bakole. We all want it. Eddie doesn't want it. That's the reality. And he's called me out enough times for apparently not wanting fights. Let's make that fight. Let's make that fight.
You're saying Eddie Hearn doesn't want that fight? No, Anthony Joshua.
I think Anthony Joshua wants that fight. I think if Eddie says that he wants that fight, the deal's done. I think it's the last piece in the jigsaw. I think everyone wants it, and what a spectacle that could be in Africa. But we've got a huge job on May the 2nd, and then we could look at that.
Cool. And on that note, I'm going to end it there. I know you've got to go possibly to do other media commitments, possibly at TalkSport, I'm not sure. But Ben Shalom, always a pleasure. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you very much for your time.